Let go and let God. We never die, but we multiply. Our spirit forever lives, even though the body no longer lives. Tiptoe to the top, and you find more challenges, and you find you need to have more strength. In this life, everything has an ending. It has a start and it has an ending. And it is important for each and every one of us to live our life consciously. One day, you won't be here. Make the best of what you have now. The festive season gives opportunity for the year to begin with a new limelight. My journey was quite different than I would have imagined. Keep in mind that when you keep the family close, you invite a lot of beauty around you. It just depends on how you see things. So just let things unfold in front of your very eyes. With the new year approaching, I wasn't growing any younger. This made me realize that I was approaching a very significant period of being an African adult male. With the income I had, now I could invest in myself and the journey from boyhood to manhood. With my eldest sister's help and her husband, we planned a trip to the Eastern Cape to seek my father, who would be a key instigator in my manhood journey. Taking the trip to another province to meet my father, almost 11 years after he had left our family in Cape Town, I had a lot of uncertainties I had to deal with, but I had to center myself. Regardless, I was reminding myself of the most important task at hand, and that was to meet him and for him to assist me through this journey. It really wasn't for me to question, but always try and always, by any means, to appeal to his good side. I couldn't go there with any question that would burn any opportunity for me to expand. So I seeked the good side. Seeing his kids after so much time, I think he didn't realize how much time had gone. And now the mere fact that he was a grandfather because of my elder sister made him realize that time really does go quickly. It was important for us to go there to say our part and what we would have expected of him. I was so enthusiastic about the fact that my mind was so centered around the result that I really wanted. So he agreed, he came down, and we agreed that as the year would went by, he would come down and initiate everything. I think that was one of the most defining moments I look back on to this day, and I think how important it is for us to be guided by our good instincts, about how it's important for us to make decisions that are going to set us up for success. So the older as I got, I really at one point never figured that I would really have my father back again in my life, seeing that he left at such a young age. And now seeing that I have grown and went through so much experience, I had to be mindful of the fact that now I had the opportunity to learn from what my father went through. Because as you grow older, you put yourself in positions where you can have the ability to look at things from a different view. So I couldn't allow myself to be ruled by that anger, because it was anger at a younger age because of less information, less understanding. But the older I grew, the more I started to look at things from a different way. So as arrogant as my father is, he's still my father at the end of the day, and I dearly loved him. So we said our part, and we headed back. The circle of friends you have matters as you grow older, because it's very evident of who you are as a person. Working also taught me plenty of people who you really thought were your friends really weren't. Good times do sometimes show who really is for you. I really could sense a lot of envy from the people that I had at the time, because I think it was due to the fact that plenty of them weren't focused on improving themselves. And when your mindset and focus is more on how another person is doing than you trying to rectify yourself, you tend to blame others for your own shortcomings. And seeing that I was a conscious person, I just couldn't ignore it at all. So trust me, I really learned the hard way, especially when you are starting to work yourself up to the top. You start having goals for yourself, and you start to understand that there are certain conflicts that you need to avoid. And honestly, you need to cut ties with toxic friends, because those people are working against you. They're working against themselves, and also they're working against you. So in order for you to have opportunity to do better, who you surround yourself matters most. So your friends can either be propellers or they can be preventers. So the festive season approached, and the time for ceremonies had approached. The excitement got even more. I had spent the entirety of the year just preparing myself for what was going to come ahead, and seeing that my father had been available by the time that he said he was going to be available at, I had opportunity for me to lay the groundwork. Taking time off work, especially right after I had begun, because I ventured on this journey right after I had gotten a job opportunity. I think it wasn't easy, and as much as it wasn't easy, it was also necessary. So I had to be mindful that there was plenty of work that had to be put in. So, man who taught me a lot of valuable things that I had enforced myself from a very young age, and I couldn't put myself at any disadvantage, seeing that I didn't have most of the time a key father figure role in my life. So working this journey was definitely an opportunity for my world to expand. You're really on your own. this was definitely when I learned that you need to be a very good listener, but being a good listener also requires practice. And this had given me opportunity now to learn from everyone, including those who gave me the bad experiences, the sides that I wouldn't even want to entertain myself. So now I was mindful as a man that I was the person who determined my own worth. And seeing that I had instilled a conscious way of living, it was important for me to remind myself that every now and then you're going to fumble. And even when you fumble, you fall. It is important for you to pick yourself up and not stay down. So that's another friendly reminder that only you can build you. So you make the conscious decisions that are not going to be easy, because in doing the hard things, eventually over a necessary period, things are going to become easy. So being a breadwinner, that was one position I didn't figure myself in. Seeing that I still yawned being a young person for my mother's love, for my father's love, and everything that I had lacked during my teenage life. But you take yourself back again and remind yourself that you are here now. You need to assume the role that you are in the best possibility that you can, so that you can find your way to your own greatness. I had myself all the way. We need to start treating others like we would like to be treated. And this was quite evident to many relationships that I had at this time. And it is my core belief that some relationships are only a setup for responsibility that you don't foresee coming. I had this quote in my mind: in order for something new to be born, something old has to die. It stuck up until this day. And the relationships that I was in at this time weren't fulfilling at all. And it always felt like I was a giver. And being a giver, I wasn't taking, and it always felt like I was losing a part of me. You remain complacent. It's like you become okay with what you have, and you think there is no ceiling that you can break other than the one that you have. And when you are coasting and it feels like the other person outgrows you, then eventually you're going to have to come back to yourself. So this relationship really reminded me that when you neglect the most important person, and that is yourself, you only have you to blame. So loss teaches you that nothing is guaranteed. You really have to prepare to lose people whenever, at whatever point. But the most important thing is for you to build the most important, impactful relationship with yourself. I never knew that I could find myself in such a dark room without anybody but myself. And when you have failed yourself for far too long, you're always gonna try to think back, where did it all went wrong? What could I have done differently? But then I started to flip the coin and start to look at things differently. So that entails that you take accountability, and taking accountability for your own actions is harder than what people make it out to be. Constantly having to go to that dark place where you have to sit and deal with your own bullshit. That's tough. And yeah, all of this could have been avoided, but avoidance is like sweeping sand under the carpet. Eventually it piles up, and now it takes a toll on you. But practicing meditation helped. I had to confront these demons. They were mine at the end of the day. I couldn't run from them. So as you begin, you don't see any likelihood of you prevailing over them, yet you choose to turn up. You learn, and you are mindful that by you turning up, you're also reinforcing your mind to deal with this ordeal. There's plenty of opportunity for me to learn, but I had to be mindful that I am my own propeller. Pay attention. With my path clearly defined, I had to work myself up from the bottom of that pit right up to the upper case, and had to return to the pathway. Acceptance is key, and it was so vital to the path, as it gives opportunity for new experiences. So now I had an ability to look at my own mistakes and laugh at them, and I had to remind myself that I'm only human, and how we perceive the experiences of our lives matters. And I had to develop a new relationship with pain and loss. I couldn't see it as something destructive, but as something constructive. While I'm trying to do my utmost best to build Galore 7 Media Group, I was so intrigued by the amount of potential that I had. I was so exuberant, and I just wanted anything to do with growing my technology and motivation business. Seeing a lot of what I do is self-taught, and I give kudos to the University of YouTube. My curiosity led me to the second biggest search engine after Google, and YouTube has been my university since then. And it just reinforced even further my love for computers, and it reminded me that learning was not only to be done in a school environment, but anywhere and everywhere you go. Now I could be my own propeller, and I started to fall more and more in love with who I was becoming. Health is wealth, guys. I think that hits differently until you find yourself in a position where nothing else matters but your health. You see, something as simple as walking on our own 2 feet is something on a daily that we take for granted. But irregardless, I am reminded that it's never not important for you to take care of your health. Nothing matters but your health. And seeing my mother's health not in good condition, and her being so secretive about her health issues, I kind of didn't entertain the topic of health too much. With each and every day, I could see my own mother losing weight, becoming so weak, and it felt like the life was drained out of her. And that kind of was a moment that clicked for me to kind of prepare for the inevitable. From that day onwards, I had decided to spend every single precious moment with my mother up until the last day that I got to see her, and that was when she got on that ambulance. My last words to her were, "The Almighty God knows best. He knows why you are put in this position." I was mindful that she had fought so many battles, and eventually her time for rest will come. Long live Nolutando Shemaine Gonyana, a mother, a sister, a wife, an aunt, a friend, and everything I could ever ask for. May your spirit live on in your kids, in their offspring. I love you. Namaste.